Welcome to Heroes for Sale. It's episode 11 on Bay TV Liverpool. And this week we're going to be talking about Doctor Who and Marvel Comics and Secret Wars and where that's going with Doctor Doom creating all kinds of havoc in the Marvel universe. But first we're going to turn our attention a little bit closer to home and the art of cosplay and also Pepper Revolver's Zombie Swarm, which we're organising for Halloween. And we're joined today by the lovely, the effervescent, the ever radiant Gabby Monet. And you are hometown cosplay champion, arc champion, if you will. You've only just started really kind of getting into the art, haven't you, of cosplay and entering competitions?
Yeah, like I've entered a couple masquerades. Like I always feel like even if it's not like, you know, like a huge cosplay like the one that I won was, I always feel like it's good practice and a good thing to always try and enter competitions so you get more confident in things to enter.
How long is it that you've actually been doing the kind of the cosplay and going to comic conventions and the like?
Oh goodness. Well, my first one was probably about 3 years ago, I think, and I went as Daenerys from Game of Thrones in a like cloth dress. I don't know if
that was popular at the time.
Yeah. But no, I was actually supposed to go with a huge group of friends, but ended up being the only friend who kind of went in the end. But I just, as soon as I went in, was like, oh, you know, kind of, I'm home. This is like the best thing I've ever been to, and I've just tried to attend as many as I can since.
Well, we featured you on the show last week, didn't we? And obviously we followed you around Bold Street, not in a weird way. We actually arranged it beforehand and everything. And you took us through something, you know, your costume on the day there. But I remember you telling me that you feel completely comfortable being out and about in, you know, in the world, just kind of like, you know, dressed up as a Disney princess, as any kind of character.
Yeah, no, I think it's that sort of thing of like, some people like say like, I've a couple cosplayers I know feel more confident wearing masks rather than just, you know, going out. But it's like almost like a comfort blanket because you're yourself, but there's more to you. And like, I don't know how to explain, but it is definitely, it gives you more confidence.
Yeah, well, you're preparing yourself for the world and taking on a role, isn't it? Yeah. And I suppose that must be the attraction for cosplay and a lot of people who get into it, because you do find that is it mainly girls, or there are lads who kind of dress up, but they kind of just like the idea of being the superheroes, whereas the girls kind of do go full out and kind of present themselves and almost act the role.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of there's so many guy cosplayers and there's like so many brilliant ones, like because you guys get all like the really cool like armor, like we get cool armor types, but you like some of the armors and like the like male sort of cosplays are amazing. And there is a like sort of a thing called gender bending, which is like when you take like say if you want like if as a girl you see like a guy cosplay and you're like, oh, I'd really love to do that, but obviously it's a guy, you think, well, how can I incorporate this? And like, if that character was of a different sex, how would they dress and be? And there's a way of changing it. But with women, like with girl cosplays, you often find they are just, you know, they go all out. They will spend every penny they've earned that month on getting that cosplay as accurate as they can.
And that's part of the culture, of course, isn't it? Is creating a costume yourself from all manner of weird and wonderful things. And just talk us through a little bit about how you pulled this costume together.
Oh, well, this one is, oh goodness, where to start? The materials, like it's all handmade apart from the cape. I had to buy that because it was too tricky for me to work out. But the skirt is all like hand sort of like machine sewn, and it's double layers. And also each one of these is also cut out, hand cut and stuck on.
Made out of, Gabby?
They're actually felt with like an iridescent sort of party ribbon that I found. Thought, oh, this will be perfect. So you know, there's just strips and strips I had to like cut into circles and mount, and then loads of sparkles as well.
And I think you've told me before as well that you get the best and most positive responses from kind of, you know, little girls really on the streets. They say, oh my God, the Disney princess, and they come up and they want a picture taken with you. Is that part of the attraction to you when you go out and about? Is the reaction?
Yeah, it's always like positive reactions. Like there is so many compared to like people are always like nervous about like maybe, you know, oh, what if I get like a negative like reaction or somebody shouts across the street? And it happens, and it's always bound
Which
to
you can
happen.
expect
But
in Liverpool as well.
yeah, it happens in real life, whether you dress differently or not. But like the sort of positive responses that you get like outnumber it completely, and it's so rewarding. And to see like the look on people's faces, whether like little girls or boys or like even adults, some adults just sit there and they're like, oh, wow, you know, and they're really, you see it on their faces, and it's just a brilliant thing to think. Maybe, you know, like that person will go and tell it like one of their friends or like whoever they live with, and they'll be like, oh, you'll never guess what I saw today. It was like really cool. Or you've just got to always have that sort of positive mindset about it.
Is this something you'd like to do as a career then, the cosplay?
I would love to. I'd love to travel to America and go to like the big ones. And
Obviously San Diego Comic-Con being the biggest.
yeah.
Must have a massive budget, but that for getting characters and people in cosplay. But that must be happening over here now. Have you had any interest so far? Just because I know you've got a fairly decent following on Facebook.
Thank you. But yeah,
Because you did get an audition, didn't you, for Disney?
yeah.
Things are slowly starting to happen. Tell us a little bit about that. Then you just fly off to Hong Kong on a whim.
Goodness, yeah, like I was really like the opportunity arose, and like I have some like friends and near enough family that live over there, so I was like, oh hey, you know, there's this audition that I really want to try out for, and like due to cosplaying and just I think it's through this that I've built up the confidence to think, right, you know what, I'm gonna go try for these things and like ask these people, you know, do you want to work with me and things, and I just happened to have the opportunity to fly halfway across the world.
Well, that's the beauty of the community, isn't it? I mean, we talk a little bit about kind of geek pride and, you know, the comic community, and I suppose that extends very much into cosplay even more so. You know, people like to look after each other.
Yeah,
and help.
definitely.
And I think that's one of the things we've talked about, that we will invite you back as a regular feature on the show for you to come on and kind of do a diary of a costume from start to finish.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. Can we make it happen?
Yes, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
So you can add to your wardrobe of costumes, because I'm imagining at home it's about 50-50 at the moment. Half costumes ready to go and half kind of like, you know,
Oh goodness,
clothes ready
like
to just
yeah,
go
I've just
shopping.
had to move rooms at the moment, so there is just costumes. I'm sleeping on the bed with half of my costumes, so
Yeah. And I'd also like some help with what we're doing, which is the Purple Revolver are launching again their zombie crawl across Merseyside. We've done it for the last 2 years, and Bay have been very supportive. Bay TV, we've always covered it. It's in the Secret City Centre location, but this year I'd like to put a special spin on it and make it a bit of a cosplay event. So we could have cosplay zombies. So we could have, who is your favourite character to cosplay?
oh, that's like asking what's your favourite child.
I wasn't asking you to execute them or anything, but you know.
No. On the spot, probably either this or Tauriel from The Hobbit.
Okay, so
sort
we
of
could end up
series.
with a zombie Tariel, which would be pretty special. But would you like to come on board and help us arrange the various different kind of zombie cosplay characters that we can get?
Yeah, 100%. I would be super duper up for it.
Okay, so we're going to start getting some diaries of how to put costumes together, because you go everywhere, don't you? From kind of like what would be what's the fabric place called, Abercorn, and all different kinds of places. What are some of the weird and wonderful things that you use to put the costumes together?
Oh goodness, well, just this one alone is actually got these from Hong Kong, these funny little things, but they've got like just normal hair clips from any shop. This was actually the ribbon I used, the iridescent ribbon for this was just from like, I think it was like from just a normal shop in like this sort of present part. It was one of those little funny like ribbon. It's just
Good, well, great.
sorts.
We're going to look forward to hearing more about how you put those costumes together. And also, you heard it here first, we're going to be doing the zombie crawl again in Liverpool, and it's a cosplay special. So if you want to find out more about that, you can go to our website, purplerevolver.com, and search for Zombie Crawl Liverpool City Centre. Or check us out on Facebook. And come back after the break, where we're going to have some more comic and geeky goodness.
Hello, my name's Gabriel. A couple of weeks ago, you may have seen me review some comics, which is now on YouTube if you want to take a look at it. But today, I'm going to be reviewing something quite different. 2 action figures from a collection of Star Wars action figures called Star Wars The Black Series. This fellow is the Stormtrooper, based off the one from episode 4, based on the detail in his armour. And he comes with 2 accessories, which is his sniper, which you don't actually see in the film, but still, it's pretty cool, and his classic laser pistol, which, To be honest, I think they did a really good job on. It looks a lot like the one from episode 4. You can take their heads off if you want to. They're completely fully movable action figures. They don't say anything. They look a lot like the ones from episode 4, and the armor detail is very cool in my opinion. Obi-Wan Kenobi, figure number 8. He's pretty cool, but I think that the Stormtrooper is cooler for reasons I've just explained. He comes with a blue lightsaber. You can't push the blades down, but still, it's really awesome. The detail on the figure's face looks like it comes from episode 3 or the Clone Wars. And the box is actually pretty well designed, but it's the figure I'm more interested in. You can also see the box from the Stormtrooper as well, which was hiding beneath this one. And also, this is kind of like a playset. There's more of these, but these were the only 2 I had, in which, my opinion, are really awesome. He has a holder for his laser pistol. You can bend the legs and everything, you know, like an ideal. Twist the heads around. Stuff. Now I bid you good night.
Welcome back to Heroes for Sale. We're going to go straight into Between the Panels now, the section of the show where we examine the hot talking points from the world of comics and geeky culture. This week we're going to be talking about Secret Wars and also Doctor Who, which has just hit the screens, the new series this week. And I'm joined by Dave, our resident Marvel fan, and you've been reading Secret Wars, haven't you, Dave?
I have, enjoyed it very much.
That's right. And also we've got Paul here, who, let me get this right, is the chairman of the Merseyside League local group of Doctor Who fans.
That's close enough.
And so we're quite well qualified here today to talk about what we're going to get into. But we're going to start with Marvel's Secret Wars, which has been getting all kinds of attention because not only is it coming to its climax, they've actually pushed it back, haven't they, Dave? You were reading this week about from 8 issues to 9 issues.
That's right, yeah. So they've extended it, but they've also put a few delays in there, which is going to cause issues, we think, because the universe is resetting. New characters are coming out. When those new issues come out, they're going to come out before the actual conclusion of the Secret Wars story.
That's right. So we're trying to find out who's going to survive the incursion in this new battle world that Doctor Doom's put together. And there's been a lot of other titles announced that will probably give, you know, the sharp-minded a real clue as to who's going to survive.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Such as Old Man Logan and a couple other characters.
That's right, yeah. So it's the people who are going to survive, but it's also the teams. So it's all the people who've changed. No one's going to come out of this story the same. But like I say, they're going to be released in October, whereas the final issue of Secret Wars is going to be out in December. So we're going to see the new lineups before it's concluded. But
and for people who are right up on the story, issue 6 has just been pushed back, hasn't it? Because that was expected out this week, I think. It's now been pushed back to October the 6th or 7th.
Or the 7th, yeah.
So we have to find out what's happening with Molecule Man. You've also been reading Secret Wars.
I have indeed, and even though the main storyline's been pushed back, it's not like there isn't plenty of stuff to keep us going in the meantime. Been enjoying it. I've got, I remember the original Secret Wars back when it was published by Marvel UK Weekly over here, and so I'm kind of invested in the concept because of the nostalgia.
Of revamping it. I mean, that was quite an amazing story, and the colours that were used then to publish the comics were very trippy, I thought, reading it recently.
Beautiful. Yeah, I reread that. And the follow-up they did the following year, bringing the Beyonder to Earth in Secret Wars 2. But I mean, the only kind of drawback I've felt in the various different stories they've put together is they're all a bit kind of interchangeable. They're good stories in and of themselves, and you don't have to be invested in continuity and what have you with them. But the only one that's really, really impressed me is Deadpool's Secret Wars. It's so funny
that is a
seeing
special treat,
him.
isn't it?
Yeah, seeing him telling Secret Wars from his perspective, because we all know he wasn't really there, but you know, that's what Deadpool's all about.
Yeah, and that has been a criticism that's been thrown at Secret Wars, isn't it? That people can't really invest in what's happening because it's just like wiping the slate clean, so you can kill off characters.
Yeah, I suppose we do know there's an end coming, and nothing's going to be the same. So, but at the same time, you can have as much fun as you want with that. Like Deadpool, for example, you know, that's a total else world. This never existed, but Deadpool, being the crazy guy that he is, can just pop up and make it a reality for now until it's finished, and then we start again. But that's what I'm looking forward to. That was a lot of fun,
wasn't it, to be able to see Deadpool and all the inside jokes, like he ends up becoming a pretty boy again, like Doctor Doom, and
it
also
wasn't really Johnny Storm who fell in love with that girl. It was me.
Yeah, and he's pulling out the little secret shields that they had in the original Secret Wars toys.
Yes, those covers, those variant covers that they've been doing, spoofing the current characters, but in the style of the action figures from back in the 80s, is a really nice touch.
Yeah. Now, what we also get, I get asked a lot about variant covers, and what does it mean, and are they collectible anymore? Because, you know, they're pushed out in just as many numbers as the actual, you know, issues.
I think, some of the variants are pushed out with a lot, but then I think the rarer ones, they're always going to increase in value. You know, the less that are made, basically, the more value they're going to get over time.
And that's another thing that's come out lately, isn't it? For hip-hop fans, Marvel have announced the whole wave of 50 variant hip-hop comics.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about this. I think I'm going to be collecting the comics that are based on the hip-hop album covers that I owned.
Yeah.
And that'll just be amazing to do.
Paying tribute to mostly kind of classic 90s hip-hop albums. So we've got Deadpool and Spider-Man as Eric B. and Rakim, paid in full, which is amazing. So you pointed one out to me earlier on, which I hadn't spotted, which was Old Man Logan.
Which is Death Certificate, the Ice Cube album, which is brilliant. So, you know, straight out of Compton. And also Dr. Dre, which is Doctor Strange, one of my favourite characters. And that's called The Mystic, rather than the...
well, we've lost a lot of nights talking about Doctor Strange and what he can get up to, so that's going to be a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, so... variant covers, have you spotted that? Is there anything there that you'd like to pick up? And are you still collecting comics in that way?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not allowed to collect comics in the way I used to. I haven't got the room. Yeah, basically, I haven't got the room and I haven't got the money. I've still got a whole heck. All the stuff that I collected back in the 90s, I've still got up in the loft. And yeah, I was the guy who tended to buy the variant cover, which they probably back then printed more of than the standard cover. So I've got like the issue of Batman Nightfall where they had the die cut cover with Jean-Paul Valley in the outfit for the first time and stuff like that. I was that mug. And I know for a fact I'm never going to make money off of those.
Well, that's what I was alluding to before, is that in the early 90s there was a particular explosion in variant covers because they were trying to generate more of a collector's market, and you know, it really did help push the sales up and then, you know, expand the culture as it was. But how are we going to get our hands on all 50 kind of hip hop covers? That's going to be
50 plus covers coming out. I just think it's tailor make it to yourself. I'm not interested in getting all 50. I just want to get the ones that mean something to me, basically.
I'm sure
or you know, the stories that you're reading as well. Obviously, you know, if you're not interested in the story, you might not want it, but I might buy a couple that I'm not going to read just because I had that album.
Oh, exactly right. I mean, most of my actual comic book reading these days, it's digital because of the space and because of the money. But there will be the odd thing that I will want to get physically. You know, I'm still following the Sandman Overture, because I'm just a big fan of the Sandman and Neil Gaiman from back in the day, and I want my physical copies of that to go with my physical copies of everything.
Well, this is an interesting talking point as well, isn't it? I mean, I know Stan Lee recently has talked about the weighing up the difference between hard copies and digital copies and describing it as, you know, either watching porn online or actually physically touching a pair of breasts. Right. So, I mean, I don't think you can put it any more succinctly or better than that. But you read a lot of digital comics. I won't do it because I just can't find any pleasure in it.
I've made the switch. I thought I'd give it a go. And for me, I do like the tangible of it. You know, I do like to have a physical copy. But I think the advantage with the digital ones is you don't see the rest of the page as you're reading. So you see
the advantage and a disadvantage. You show me you can go panel by panel, so you can get deeper into the story.
Yeah, so there's more tension, so you don't know what's coming up. Sometimes when you open up a page, and it's like you can see the last panel, so you kind of know where it's going. Yeah, okay, I need to know how we get there, but for me, when you watch it panel by panel, you read it by panel, it's more tense.
It's an interesting one. 'Cause you are controlling the pace yourself there by flicking through, and I think you've got to give yourself over to the creator and the writer to set the pace. And sometimes that's why I really like to kind of take in the page and then you kind of pushed around.
Yeah.
But you do. I know I do. Lots of people must make mistakes with the flow of the page, which you wouldn't get with that either.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, well, it is a bit more interactive than that as well, because like, you know, you could have some talking heads on a page and it'll zoom in and out as you click the thing. So it's a bit more interactive rather than just sliding through each box. It can take you out the page, then put you back in at a specific point.
Yeah, it's great. So talking about tech and comics, one thing we do have to talk about is Doctor Who. That's why we got you on here.
Indeed.
And the man who loves tech, he's back on our screens. And can you just tell us a little bit about your group there, because I did list it before.
Yeah, okay, so the Merseyside local group of Doctor Who fans is arguably the longest running local group of Doctor Who fans in the UK, if not the world. We started in 1978.
It's quite a claim, isn't it?
And you know, there's been a version of the group. We can trace ourselves back to that original group. We've still got members who were members back then, and you know, so
Starting to sound a little bit like a Doctor Who villain who's tracing back the decade of his race there.
Starting in libraries and people's front rooms and meetings in pubs and hotels and doing conventions.
You've got a Merseyside accent there. You're from Essex originally.
Originally from down south, as it were, but I mean, my handle online is Auton Scouser, Plastic Scouser. That's right. Yeah, so
we must get you onto the subject of what you thought about the first episode, because we will run out of time otherwise.
In a word, mind-blowing. Oh well, 2 words hyphenated. You know, the new series. You know, Peter Capaldi's back, and it's as brilliant as it ever is.
I love him. I think he's got so much potential, because after you're watching him in the thick of it, I just think he can really nail a performance and bring something extra to a character.
Thing to remember, he is a big Doctor Who fan as well. From back in the day, he would write fan letters to John Pertwee, and so. There's a really great photo from a convention recently of Peter Capaldi and Sean Pertwee together, just doing that John Pertwee-esque pose. It's a big story. It's almost like they've started with a season finale this year, because look away if you don't want to know the score, but Daleks, Davros, the Master, Missy, Unit. It's just firing on
everything you could ever want.
All
more.
guns firing at once.
And you think he's going to succeed as the Doctor? Because we are going to run out of time now. So
He's
give us a 3-word review of Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, if you would, please, Paul.
Dark, Scottish, brilliant.
Amazing. Unfortunately, that is all we've got time for today. So thanks, Paul, and thanks, Dave. We'll get you all, we'll get you both back on in the future to talk about things, and Secret Wars, particularly as it comes to its end point. Thank you for tuning in, and join us again next time, won't you, for more Heroes for Sale. For extra videos, you can check us out online. Search YouTube, Heroes for Sale, Liverpool.
Who shot ya?